Federal NDP leader Jagmeet Singh received credible death threats from a foreign government, most likely India. Get their take on this. It's not going to matter soon because hopefully he gets ousted. Dude, I hope so, man. That would be nice. It seems like things are escalating. You know, China has backed Pakistan, which is interesting because Pakistan is a much less wealthy and functional state than India. But of course, India and China have had ongoing territorial disputes for a long time. Base, but not surprising. That I'm surprised by the how overtly China has committed to their support with Pakistan. You know, I expected them to be a little more hands-off. Pakistan and China have been allies for decades. No, I understand there's like a shared wedge against India. I don't know. India are fascist, so base. Well, hey, don't do any research on what the Pakistani government looks like, okay? Which is weird because isn't the US really good allies with Pakistan? Man, it's complicated. We're allies with Pakistan because of the Cold War, because we backed like the right-wing military junta as a bulwark against the spread of communism, you know, in like a containment doctrine kind of way. Though nowadays, our support for them is mostly vestigial. Like, Pakistan is not a very functional government right now. They're very corrupt. They're very unpopular. There's a lot of political turmoil over there. They're not a very wealthy country, you know? Yeah. We're allies with them the same way we're allies with Egypt. I think that's a good way of thinking of it, you know? We have tentatively good relationships with India, we have a tentatively good relationship with India largely because of a wedge against China. And China is pro-Pakistani because of, you know, because they both have beef with India, like Turkey. It's not a conflict where we're really friends with anyone. We like India against China. We like Pakistan against the Soviet Union, against, you know, Afghanistan, you know, against that. There's just a lot of like wedge issues. Countries don't have friends. Well, certainly not now. Not anymore. Well, I apologize for being partisan with this, but I personally hope that we don't have nuclear war between India and Pakistan. Pakistan's calling for a neutral investigation, which China has backed. They've backed their support to that. If India doesn't want to let it happen, because it would happen in Indian territory, it would happen in Kashmir, that would be, man, that would not look good for India. It would look pretty sus. India test fires missiles as tensions rise with Pakistan. All right, well, India just does that for fun sometimes. Didn't India recently put out a notice to the media to not cover military movement? Yeah, they did. Refrain from airing live coverage of defense ops, movement of forces, IMB ministry tells media channels. That's a little bit spooky. I don't know how commonly that notice is issued in India. I don't know if it's more common over there, but over here in the States and like my understanding, a lot of countries, when you tell the media to not follow troop movements, that's usually like, because if your goal is to intimidate Pakistan, you want the media to follow the troop movements because that's intimidating, because then you get lots of like video footage of the soldiers moving. If you want to invade Pakistan, you don't want the media to cover your troop movements. So yeah, that's my assumption. Again, I don't know. Where does Israel lie if the war happens? Well, Israel stands with India because India also lion. Prayer emoji. Smiley face. Do the accent, pussy? F you. They both hate Muslims, essentially. The Information and Broadcasting Ministry has asked media channels to refrain from showing live coverage of defense operations and movement of security forces. An advisory issued by the Ministry on Saturday says, in the interest of national security, all media platforms, news agencies, and social media users are advised to exercise utmost responsibility. Ooh. It is war language, yeah. Media blackout can be just as intimidating. Yeah, that's true. Like the threat of a media blackout, or like the threat posed by one, is also pretty intimidating on its own. Just, yeah, I don't know, pretty spooky. A war between India and Pakistan would be pretty bad right now, because America's not really in a position to do anything to, like, mediate. Not that America's normally, you know, a super duper humanitarian-minded country, but we don't benefit from a war between Pakistan and India. We don't want that. We don't benefit from that. But Trump has no idea. Remember the press conference with Trump, where a news reporter brought it up, and Trump was like, India and Pakistan, they've been fighting for thousands of years. Oh, that's a big one. They've been fighting Kashmir. They've been fighting for thousands. It goes back a long time. Thousands of years. Like, he doesn't know what the hell's going on. What news site is this?
Big developments coming in from Pakistan, viewers. Pakistan's Air Force has carried out large-scale
Is this legitimate? WION?
deployments of fighter aircraft in the southern sector of the country. Now, according to sources, these aircraft include the Chinese J-10Cs, JF-17 Block 3 aircraft, and the American F-16C Block 52. The deployments come amid rising tensions between India and Pakistan in the aftermath of that deadly Pahalgam terror attack, which claimed 27 lives. Tourists were targeted in that attack, and Pakistan has also moved heavy loads of ammunition, including precision strike missiles, long-range anti-ship, as well as very long.
Pakistan's life, birth 1947, RIP 2025. If you break the first layer of shield, then the game is yours. Test, bots or Indians? I think these are Indians, because bots would speak better English. Trump is older than Pakistan and Israel. Okay, listen. I don't like the comparisons between Pakistan and Israel, because Israel literally was made up, okay? Like, Israel was Palestine for hundreds and hundreds of years. There were Jewish residents there, but that was Palestine. Israel is a colonial construct. Pakistan isn't a colonial construct. Pakistan and India split, you know? So were India and Pakistan. No. But like the ethnic divide, the tension that we see now between India and Pakistan, that does go back a very long time. You know, that is a very like old schism. It was the split was created by the British, but the pre-existing ethnic tensions were there. Whereas in the current dynamic with Israel, like in its occupation, was an outward manifest, right? It wasn't like the Jewish residents of Palestine became Israel, right? It was an outward force that created which is why, you know, like Netanyahu's from Philadelphia or whatever, right? It's the difference between a colonial force creating the schism and the colonial force creating the country, you know? The British did this. Well, the British drew the line, but the tension between Muslims and Hindus, I mean, that does go back longer. The dynamic is different. The Brits made the tension though. No, they never mind. I just realized I don't want to argue this. I was just trying to it's not the same situation is what I'm talking about, okay? It's not the same situation.
Long-range air-to-air missiles with the help of C-130 military transport aircraft to its southern bases. Half of the J-10C fleet.
More apt comparison would be the Balkans, wouldn't it? I think that would be a more apt comparison. That's probably true, yeah. I think, yeah, comparing it to probably, yeah. A little better. Not perfect, but a little better. Language politics played a bigger role in subcontinental politics. Yeah, India is like the most diverse country in the world, right? By far. Doesn't India have like one language for every person or something? It's insane how diverse India is. Nigeria? Okay, well, it's not a competition, asshole.
With F-16s have been deployed to bases in Southern Command. Sources say Pakistan Air Force is undertaking these deployments with a focus on safeguarding the Karachi metropolitan areas and to maintain operational readiness. India remains undeterred with Rafale, Sukhoi 30 MKIs and state-of-the-art missile systems on alert. New Delhi has made it clear any misadventure will be met with overwhelming force.
Hold on. India seems to be building its case for striking Pakistan. As world powers face multiple crises, the one set off by a terror attack in Kashmir is getting scant attention or help in de-escalating between nuclear-armed neighbors. Man. Modi has spoken on the phone with more than a dozen world leaders. Diplomats from 100 missions in India's capital filed. That's really bad news, by the way, right? Like, why would Modi need to rush to talk to everybody if he wasn't planning something? Like, if it was considered a domestic incident, why would he be doing that? It's like he's trying to shore up support. Is Modi smart? Yeah, he's not Putin smart, but he's not like Trump dumb. He's somewhere in the middle. He's probably like normal strongman smart, where he has self-preservation instincts and can, you know, turn a movement a bit. But I don't think he's like Trump, where all the actual deal making is being done by his team, and Trump is just the idiot, mascot. Yeah, he's maybe a little more like Erdogan. So maybe more like middle of the... Does he actually have abs like his supporters claim? I don't want to get any more Indians mad at me, okay? So we'll say yes. He's got an 8-pack and a 56-inch chest. Yeah. But the effort's largely not about rallying help to de-escalate India's dangerous face-off with Pakistan. Instead, according to 4 diplomatic officials aware of the discussions, New Delhi appears to be building a case for military action against its neighbor and archenemy. Oh boy. Without naming Pakistan, Mr. Modi in a speech on Thursday promised severe punishment and the raising of terror safe havens. An indication for how volatile the situation remains, the security forces of the two sides have exchanged intermittent small arms fire across the border. 2 of the 3 past consecutive nights. Vaush, India and Pakistan are always fighting. Anyone who was informed knows this. Stop fear-mongering. For one, I've talked at length about how they've been fighting consistently for years now. So you assuming that I don't know that betrays your ignorance, not mine. For 2, just because they've been fighting... I'm sorry, do you think that consistent fighting between India and Pakistan should be like a matter of calm? Like, oh, don't worry, the 2 nuclear-armed countries, they just do that. What are you talking about? The situation's different this time, too. Modi's on his way out. He's losing popularity. This is the one thing strawmen do every time they need to shore up support. They cultivate war. It's pretty scary. Threatening, yeah, cutting off water rights to Pakistan, ending a like 65-year-old deal, securing water rights, assuming no help from allies. Who is the advantage in a military conflict? Oh, India. India is a far larger country, but they both have nukes. So, in Kashmir, Indian forces have begun a sweeping clampdown, arresting hundreds as they continue their hunt for perpetrators. They declare their intention to disrupt the flow of water to Pakistan, whose irrigation system depends largely on upstream rivers. This right here is more destructive than firing a nuke. If they cut off the water supply to Pakistan, that would kill orders of magnitude more people than dropping a nuclear weapon in the middle of a densely populated area. It also ordered the immediate departure of some staff members of Pakistan's diplomatic mission, as well as of Pakistani citizens visiting India. Anti-Muslim sentiment in India is also intensifying. Yes, because India is also lying. They don't have a dam to do that with. There are probably things they could do to disrupt the flow of water. I'm sure the threat is being taken seriously for a reason, though I'm not familiar with the, hydrology of India and the technology and infrastructure that they have. Trump administration officials have voiced strong backing of India's fight against terrorism. How wild would it be if we backed India and China backed China backed Pakistan? Trump had nothing to say on the matter because he has no idea what's going on. China's already half backing Pakistan. Well, they're backing Pakistan here, but historically we would back Pakistan. Doesn't Russia usually back India? Yeah, but Russia's word doesn't mean anything right now. Russia can't meaningfully do anything. They're too tied down in Ukraine. No, China's always had a good relationship with Pakistan. I'm saying us backing India. Panic in the province of Kashmir after India releases Jhelum water. Heightened tensions. Unexpected spike in the river's water levels thrown Pakistan-occupied Kashmir into pandemonium after India, according to local officials, released water from the Uri Dam without notice on Saturday. They just flooded the Pakistani-controlled portion of Kashmir? That's cool. Hold on. Let me get an Al Jazeera video on this. See what the most recent word is. India and Pakistan have exchanged gunfire for a 3rd successive night across the line of control. Authorities crack down in Kashmir. Politicians in Kashmir have criticized it. Claims that Kashmir and Kashmiris are facing collective punishment. Can't we all just get along? No. Pussy. Yeah, I don't know. My big fear here mostly is the fact that the United States is basically like a hostile force. The U.S. would probably, if anything, back India. But, like, we're probably going to stay out of it, you know? This is one of the rare instances where America's role as a world policeman can actually be beneficial, because when foreign conflicts happen where our only real interest is economic stability, it's a lot easier for us to go over and basically be like, can you guys cut it the fuck out, please? And America did have a stabilizing role in some of the previous conflicts between India and Pakistan. Not like we directly helped, really, but more like, come on, guys, this is really getting in the way of us, I don't know, doing business dealings or whatever. It's mediation. Yeah. Indian protesters holding up water bottles to mock Pakistani protesters in London. They are telling them Pakistan won't have any water soon. Okay. It's always in London. Zionist coda? Yeah, well, because India is also lying. Has there been any proof of Pakistani government involvement in the terrorist attack? No. But Pakistan is calling for a neutral probe. I don't think India is going to allow for it. If India doesn't allow a neutral probe, that means one of two things. Either it was a false flag, or more likely of the two options, that India wants war with Pakistan and doesn't want any independent investigation to slow down the momentum, or disprove involvement from Pakistan. What would they gain from this war? Well, Modi is a strongman. He wants war because it could legitimize his rule. He could invoke emergency powers. What does India's also lion mean? It's a joke about how like Indians are always glazing Israeli actions against Palestinians on social media, but Israel doesn't like India, or Israelis don't like Indians because they're racist as but they both dislike Muslims. Are Indians also Hitlerite? Yeah. Yeah. I mean, like, obviously not all Indians as a group or whatever, but you know, in terms of a general national disposition, it's definitely leaned in that direction. I mean, you know, look at how the country's been ruled. India literally gave Pakistani ISI airbase access for a similar attack before you're being dense. Again, like, I have to wonder, like, what is it about the internet that compels you to type out your point? Like, what point are you making? I'm being dense because India gave Pakistani ISI airbase access for a similar attack before. What are you talking about? You idiot, you moron. Don't you know that a thing that's maybe kind of related happened like a while ago? You idiot. What do you, I don't understand, like, what motivates people to, oh wow, what a surprise, you don't chat here and you've only jumped in this stream. Incredible. And you only ever talked 1 year ago before to talk about the BJP. I don't mind the contention, and I certainly don't mind, you know, Indians or whatever in my chat. We're all the human race. I don't care. It is just a little weird when people are mean to me for no reason, and then I look at their chat, and you know, they're like very partisan. They're very keyed in on one subject. You know, I talk about a lot of stuff. I acknowledge that I don't have a robust and comprehensive, you know, understanding of every subject that I discuss. It's not really possible because I talk about world news. You know, I just don't understand the point of like being unnecessarily combative. Basically, what I'm saying is that being mean to me should be a crime punishable by capital punishment. Vaush shitting on Indians again? I don't think I shit on Indians. I don't think that's true. The country is definitely in a dark place right now, though. Vaush is also lying. Listen, I am also lying. Pakistanis failing to leave India face 3 years in jail? Really? Pakistanis failing to leave India face 3 years in jail or Rs 3 lakh fine or both? This is not a primary English source, I assume. New Delhi, any Pakistani who fails to leave India as per the deadline set by the government will be arrested, prosecuted, and may face a jail term of up to 3 years or a fine of maximum Rs 3 lakh or both. I don't know what amount this is. Presumably some equivalent to 3 years in jail. Rs 3 lakh means 300,000 rupees? Okay. This seems like really serious? They're literally exiling all Pakistani nationals? Like, this is probably hundreds of thousands of people, I would assume. That seems like really, really bad. The deadline is April 29th? 2 days to leave the country? Okay. That seems like a lot. This is too much to not end in war. Yeah, but like, yeah, it seems like it. I don't know. I think they just mean visa holders, not ethnic Pakistan. Well, I think they mean Pakistani citizens. 3,500 bucks. Well, that's probably a lot in India, right? Yeah, Pakistani nationals. While precise figures are difficult to obtain, estimates suggest there are approximately 1 million Pakistani nationals residing in India. No way. 1 million people? You have 2 days to leave the country? That can't be right. That's insane. No, they're already leaving. 537 Pakistanis leave India through Attari-Wagah border in 4 days as deadline ends for short-term visa holders. Okay, wait, so the article we just looked at, right, this one doesn't seem like it was translated into English very well. There's lots of grammar errors. So, okay, here we go. The 12 categories of visas whose holders have to leave India by Sunday are these short-term visas. Okay, so the 2-day deadline are short-term visa holders. But it sounds like there would be a later deadline for all nationals. They're being given a little bit more time. Is there a timeline for the removal? The deadline for exiting India for those holding SAARC visas was April 26th. Oh, that already passed. For those carrying medical visas, 29th. Man, they started kicking people out really quickly. What's the deadline for just like general nationals? April 27th? April 27th deadline? No, that's an earlier deadline. What about the later ones? I don't know, man. That shit's scary. Pakistani Minister Hanif Abbasi makes open threat. 130 nuclear missiles targeted India. Okay. In a dramatic escalation of tension, threatened India with nuclear retaliation, claiming that Pakistan's missile arsenal, along with 130 nuclear warheads, has been kept, quote, only for India. Abbasi openly declared that if India decides to halt Pakistan's water supply, it should prepare for full-scale war, stating Pakistan's nuclear weapons are not merely symbolic, but are positioned across the country and ready to be used. Intelligence bureaus handed over a list of around 5,000 Pakistani nationals living in national capital to Delhi police to ensure their return. Okay, man. Well, we'll see. I don't know. It seems pretty bad to me. It seems pretty bad. In my opinion. We might get to see a nuclear war from the sidelines. That's true. That would be like novel to an American, because for so long we assumed that if a nuclear war broke out, it would be us and the Soviets. You know? At least now it would happen somewhere else, which makes it totally fine. But it might spread beyond India and Pakistan. Are you suggesting some sort of war of the world? You don't know what you're talking about. At this point, I'm doing the, like, international news equivalent to doom scrolling, but it is a pretty big deal. I am getting brain damage listening to Vaush and Indian issues. Why is everyone mean to me? I am from India. Yes, Kashmir is under military occupation, and no, there is not going to be a war. An escalation, yes, but not a full-scale war. Was it a false flag? No. Lack of research here. India is huge, and the BJP is 27% of support, so no, India is not fully Hitlerite, but a huge chunk is. Not that many. Very few Pakistanis live in India, mostly diplomats and artists. I'm getting brain damage listening to Vaush and Indian issues. It seems like you came here with the intention of being contentious and not the information, or not the interest of, like, spreading or receiving information. Lack of research here. When Vaush said Hitlerite tendency, what he failed to account for was the BJP having 27% support. Okay, go check polling on, like, Islamophobia across Hindu India, all right? Not that many Pakistanis live in India. I'm getting brain damage. You know what? Fix your own country. Trump won. America first. F you. Being mean to me. I hope you get nuclear warred. Nah, I don't. Yeah, we just need chatters being like, man, I'm getting so much more intelligent. My brain is getting healed from this content. We need to, like, balance out the people who come in here just to argue with me.